I was not included in the photo of my sister's wedding, even though I paid for the banquet. I was accidentally cut out of the family video, but what I did on her anniversary put me back in the picture forever. Please read this all the way through, because by the time you reach the end, you're not going to see me the same way. What began as a favor for my sister's wedding unraveled into the kind of betrayal that forces you to decide who you really are when the people closest to you pretend you don't exist. I knew I wasn't my sister's favorite person, but I didn't think I was invisible. The morning of her wedding, I stood in the banquet hall I'd paid for, $17,432.36 to be exact. I remember the number because I emptied my entire emergency fund to cover it when the caterer threatened to back out. For family, I told myself. Because that's what we do, right? We show up, we help, we swallow the hurt. I was sweating through my suit jacket by 10 a.m., hauling flower arrangements and moving chairs while Mia, 34F, my sister, stood in her lace dress like a damn monarch, sipping champagne and directing people like a general. She didn't even look at me when she asked me to handle the table numbers. Not asked. Instructed. Like a vendor. Like I was the help. Mia and I were close once. I'm 31 million, her younger brother by 3 years, and when we were kids, she used to braid my hair just to piss off our dad. We were chaos in matching pajamas, secret keepers, inside joke sharers. Somewhere between her getting engaged and me losing my job during COVID, she stopped looking at me like a person and started seeing a walking wallet with no boundaries. It wasn't even her idea to ask me for help with the banquet. Our mom called, her voice syrupy with guilt. Honey, Mia really wanted the lakefront venue, and with guest counts, you're the only one who might be able to. I said yes before she finished. Like a chump. The day moved in a blur. Mia's husband, Jordan, 36 million, was the kind of guy who called every man boss and every woman ma'am, like he was trying to charm a parole officer. He shook my hand too hard, asked if I was still doing the delivery thing. I said I was between jobs. He laughed like I'd made a joke. I hadn't. When it was time for family photos, I wasn't even on the list. I stood off to the side of the gazebo, smiling awkwardly, assuming someone would wave me in. They didn't. Mia posed with her bridesmaids, then with our parents, then with Jordan's family. Group after group. I saw my mom whisper something to Mia and glance toward me. Mia shook her head. I walked away before my face cracked. That night, I sat at the back of the hall at table 14, assigned, not chosen, next to Jordan's weird uncle and a guy from his CrossFit gym. The DJ played the family tribute video around 9 p.m., a sappy montage of childhood clips and wedding party moments. I watched the screen, waiting to see even 1 second of myself. I wasn't in it. Not a photo, not a frame. My stomach clenched so hard I thought I might puke. I pushed my chair back and left before the cake. The next morning, Mia texted me. Thank you again for everything. The night was magical. Sorry if you felt left out. It was just so hectic. Hectic, right? I typed and deleted at least 15 responses, then just wrote, "You're welcome." But something inside me snapped that night. Not out of bitterness, out of clarity. You don't spend a year planning to hurt someone like that by accident. That kind of exclusion is deliberate. She made her picture-perfect wedding. Now I was going to ruin the frame. Mia wasn't always like this. I swear. I've been trying to figure out when it started, when she stopped seeing me as her brother and started treating me like the family handyman she could ghost when the work was done. Maybe it was when she started dating Jordan. Maybe it was before that, when our dad got sick and I was the one who took leave from work to help while she flew in twice, cried on cue, and left before the hard parts. But the real fracture started 3 years ago. Our cousin died. Overdose. Quiet funeral. Mia showed up an hour late wearing a designer coat and sunglasses big enough to cover her face. I drove 4 hours in a busted Civic with no AC just to be there. At the reception, Mia pulled me aside and said, "You shouldn't have worn sneakers, it looks sloppy." Our cousin was dead and she was worried about appearances. Still, I kept showing up. I helped her move twice. Drove to her apartment in the middle of the night when she thought someone was following her. Fixed her leaky sink. Bought her groceries when she got laid off. I never asked for anything back. So when she told me about the wedding, I wanted to be happy for her. I was at first. I helped her pick the damn color scheme. Sat through Zoom meetings with the caterer. I'm not a planner. Hell, I'm barely social. But I was there, in the group chats, booking vendors when Jordan flaked. And when the caterer said they needed a deposit ASAP or they'd walk, It was my account that got drained. Mia promised she'd pay me back after the wedding gifts came in. Spoiler, she didn't. Never even brought it up again. A week after the wedding, I got a group text from my mom. Here's the link to the full wedding gallery, so beautiful. I clicked it. There were over 200 photos. Mia laughing, Mia crying, Mia holding our mom's hand, Jordan doing shots with his groomsmen. Even the flower girl got a solo series. I wasn't in a single one. I scrolled through the whole thing. My face, my body, was literally cropped out of the few group shots I knew I'd been in. One where I stood behind Mia during her bouquet toss, tight framed on her arms. One with our parents at the table. I was sitting next to our dad, but it was zoomed just enough to cut me off. It felt deliberate, surgical. I texted Mia privately. Hey, not trying to be weird, but was I really not in a single photo? She left it on red. No response. I told my mom. She said, maybe it was just bad angles. Photographers have to make cuts. Like I was an ugly lampshade someone forgot to Photoshop out. I didn't sleep that night. Not out of sadness, out of this white-hot vibrating sense of erasure, of humiliation. I'd poured myself into that wedding, into my sister, and she deleted me like a pimple in a prom photo. I started pulling receipts, bank transfers, emails, photos I'd taken of the setup before guests arrived. I made a folder on my desktop and labeled it, The Truth. Because I wasn't going to forget how this felt. And neither was she. The plan didn't come to me all at once. It built slowly, like a splinter working its way deeper into the skin. At first, I just wanted her to admit it, to say, yeah, I cropped you out and here's why. But the silence, the complete disregard, hollowed something out in me. Then I remembered something. Their anniversary was coming up. 1 year since the big, beautiful wedding. 1 year since I was erased. They were throwing a party, not a small dinner, mind you. A full-on backyard event with catered tacos and a damn Love Never Ends balloon arch. I only knew because my cousin Lexi sent me the Facebook invite with a laughing emoji and the message, guess who's not tagged? I wasn't invited. Again, that's when the idea took root. Not revenge, correction. She made the memory she wanted. Now I was going to remind everyone of the memory she buried. Forever. I didn't go nuclear right away. For about a week, I hovered at the edge of it, testing the line between justified and insane. I'd open the folder, The Truth, and stare at the receipts. My name on the banquet hall invoice. The time-stamped text from Mia. Please just cover it and we'll settle after the honeymoon. Her Venmo still showed 0-cent payments. Nothing. And then I'd close the folder. Because some small, pathetic part of me still hoped she'd come around. That she'd realize what she'd done, apologize, maybe invite me to the anniversary thing with some half-baked excuse and a slice of leftover cake. But when she posted the invite publicly and tagged everyone, our parents, Jordan's dog walker, the girl who did her nails, except me, that did it. I started planning. Lexi helped. She was the only one in the family who hadn't drunk the Mia's perfect Kool-Aid. She'd seen me lugging banquet tables in the heat while Mia sipped mimosas. She was the one who filmed me fixing the floral arch the morning of the wedding because nobody else knew how zip ties work. She said, if you're going to do something, do it loud. Don't ask for space in their picture. Take the whole damn frame. We brainstormed. At first, it was dumb ideas. Photobomb the party wearing a shirt that said, bankrolled this shit. Or show up with a mariachi band and dedicate every song to the forgotten brother. We laughed, but my gut said it wasn't enough. This wasn't just about being left out of a party. This was about being erased. Systematically, emotionally, publicly. So I made a plan to remind everyone of what Mia really looked like when no one was watching. It started with the photos. Remember how I said I wasn't in the wedding album? That wasn't entirely true. There were 3 shots I managed to get off a guest's phone. One was me bent over a box of wine bottles, sweat bleeding through my back. Another was of me adjusting the microphone cables, half crouched behind the DJ booth. But the third, oh man, that one was gold. It was me and Mia, right before the ceremony. I was straightening the train of her dress. She was turned slightly toward me, mid-sentence, and even though her mouth was smiling, her eyes were rolled so hard it looked like she was about to pass out from condescension. Lexi captioned it. The help. Paid. Not pictured in Final Cut. I turned it into a poster. Like a literal 24 by 36 professionally printed poster. Then I printed 10 copies. I didn't stop there. I took screenshots of the Venmo transactions, the texts, the guest list I helped her finalize, highlighting where she crossed out my name and wrote, "Ask him to handle buffet." And I formatted them like exhibit boards. Think courtroom evidence style. Then I found out who they'd hired for the anniversary party, a local event photographer. Lexi knew the guy and slid me the booking info. I messaged him, said I wanted to add some visual surprise for the guests. Sent him $150 and asked if he'd put up a quick visual display during cocktail hour. Nothing too invasive. He said sure. Just send me the files. I emailed him a slideshow. Title slide read, "In honor of the first anniversary of Jordan and Mia, here's what it took to make the magic. Every receipt, every text, every forgotten photo, all timed to a cheesy instrumental cover of Perfect by Ed Sheeran." I watched him upload it to his projector from a folding chair across the street. When it started rolling, Mia was mid-laugh, holding a taco in one hand and her wine glass in the other. She turned just in time to see her own face on a massive screen, smirking while I bent to zip up a chair cover. She froze. Jordan said something. Mia dropped her wine. The screen shifted to the Banquet invoice, with my name and the charge in bold at the top, then a close-up of our text chain. "I promise I'll pay you back, just don't tell Mom." And the final slide? That photo of her rolling her eyes with the caption, "Erased, but not forgotten. Happy anniversary." The silence was beautiful. Then the screaming started. Update 1. Okay. South. That blew up a lot bigger than I expected. First off, to everyone in the comments saying, "You're my hero," or "This is how you go scorched earth with elegance." Thank you. Seriously, I've read every message, even the one guy who called me the petty Picasso of family drama. Iconic. But yeah, I didn't expect this to become the main character moment of their entire social circle. Lexi told me people were whispering before the slideshow even ended. Someone's aunt started crying because she thought I was dead or something. And Jordan? Apparently he lost it. Screamed at Mia in front of everyone, called her a manipulative brat, and stormed out. They're not even living together right now. Oh, and the photographer. He messaged me to say he got 3 new bookings out of it. One bride specifically said, "I want a spicy slideshow too." Mia's called me 5 times, left voicemails. First it was, "How could you do this to me?" Then, "You ruined everything." And finally, "We need to talk." I'm not picking up. Our mom texted me something about escalating things beyond reason and family unity. I replied with a screenshot of the cropped wedding photo. No words, just vibes. But here's the kicker. I got a message from one of Mia's old friends. She said, "Honestly, you did what the rest of us were too scared to." Turns out, I'm not the only one she's used and tossed. So yeah, no regrets. You want to cut someone out of the family picture? Better make sure they don't have a projector. The first time I saw Mia after the slideshow was 5 days later. She showed up at my apartment unannounced, 9:17 p.m., wearing a hoodie 3 sizes too big and carrying some sad little tote bag like she was starring in her own apology tour. I didn't open the door right away. I watched her through the peephole as she just stood there, shifting her weight, looking down. Like if she stared hard enough at her shoes, the sidewalk would swallow her. Eventually, I opened it. Didn't say anything, just stared. She looked up at me with those watery, mascara-clumped eyes, the kind she used to practice in the mirror before giving our dad bad news. "Can we talk?" she asked, voice barely audible. I stepped aside. She sat on the edge of my couch like it was burning her. I stayed standing. "You embarrassed me," she said after a pause, like that was going to be the opening line to a genuine conversation. "No," I said. "You embarrassed yourself. I just brought the receipts." Her jaw clenched. "You made a public scene at my anniversary. You made a public deletion of your brother at your wedding." She flinched. "I paid for it, Mia. I carried that day on my back and you edited me out like bad lighting." "I didn't mean to," she said quickly. "It wasn't personal." I laughed. Actually laughed. Cutting your only sibling out of the family tribute video and every professional photo isn't personal? You didn't just forget me, Mia. You erased me. Her voice cracked. "It got complicated. Jordan thought it would be weird to have you in so many photos since you were handling all the logistics. So I was too helpful to be family? I didn't want people to think you were just there as a guest and then it became this thing." I cut her off. "You made it a thing. All you had to do was include me, one photo, one thank you. Anything." Her hands trembled. "I didn't think you'd be this angry." Because you don't think about me at all. Silence. And then something strange happened. She started crying. Not delicate sniffles. Ugly, open-mouthed sobbing. I stood there, arms crossed, while she unraveled in front of me. I don't know why I do this, she blurted. I push people away and then I get mad when they leave. It's like I need to prove I don't need anyone, and then I break down when no one's there. I didn't say anything, she sniffled. Mom always said you'd get over it, that you were the forgiving one, that I could focus on appearances because you'd handle the real stuff. There it was. The family blueprint. She was wrong, I said finally. I'm done cleaning up after everyone else's ego. Mia looked up. So what now? You just hate me forever? I didn't answer that either. She left not long after. No hug, no promises, just a broken little wave and the sound of her boots clomping down my stairs. And I thought that was the end of it. But it wasn't, because the fallout hadn't hit Jordan yet. And when it did, it cracked their perfect little marriage open like a dropped champagne bottle. Turns out, my slideshow didn't just make him angry. It made him curious. He started digging through Mia's laptop. And what he found? Made everything that came before look like a warm-up act. Lexi called me 2 days after Mia's visit. I could tell by her voice she was buzzing. You're not going to believe this, she said. Jordan's at his mom's house, like living there, and he's been talking. Apparently, after the party, Jordan couldn't shake it. Not just the slideshow, which, yeah, publicly humiliating, but the way Mia reacted after. The defensiveness, the gaslighting, the classic, everyone's overreacting, Mia spiral. And for the first time, he saw it clearly. He started snooping. And according to Lexi, who got this straight from one of Jordan's cousins, he found everything. Every message Mia had ever sent to her friends about how ungrateful I was. How she was tired of dragging her deadweight brother around. And how he's only useful for his wallet. Screenshots from the wedding planning group chat, where she literally joked that cropping me out would help the aesthetic. But the kicker? There was a spreadsheet. An actual spreadsheet labeled Cover Story Dollars, where she listed the contributions from different people and whether or not she had to pay them back. Next to my name, a check mark under Safe to Ghost. Jordan is livid, Lexi said. He's talking annulment. His mom already took down all the wedding photos from her living room. And then she paused. There's something else. What? Jordan sent me the spreadsheet. My heart dropped. She forwarded it. There it was. My name, in a tidy little row next to $17,432.36. Right next to it, a column labeled, Excuse if asked. Said I'd Venmo after honeymoon. He'll forget. Forget? Forget? I saw red. That spreadsheet didn't just expose Mia. It mocked me. Like I was some forgetful fool who wouldn't notice being financially and emotionally gutted. And I don't know what snapped inside me next, but it was something beyond revenge. Beyond anger. I wasn't going to let her explain this away again. I was going to make sure everyone knew exactly what Mia looked like when she thought no one was watching. And I had the perfect opportunity. Because guess who was asked to speak at our cousin Clara's bridal shower next weekend? Mia. The speech was supposed to be about the beauty of sisterhood. I made a phone call to Clara. Told her what Mia did to me. Sent her the spreadsheet. She didn't even hesitate. Send me the files, she said. I'll handle it. The day of the shower, Mia showed up in pastel pink like she was ready for a Pinterest spread. She had note cards. A whole damn speech planned. Clara waited until everyone was seated, then stood up and said, Before we begin, I'd like to share a lesson on what not to do to your sibling. She clicked the remote. Up went the spreadsheet, projected across the room. Then the texts. Then the wedding photos, mine next to the versions where I'd been cropped out. The room went quiet. And then Clara looked Mia dead in the face and said, You don't get to preach about sisterhood when you exploited your own brother and tried to pretend he didn't exist. Mia burst into tears and ran out. But here's the thing. No one followed her. Not one person got up. Not even our mom. Clara turned to me afterward and said, That was for every time she made you feel small. And in that moment, I swear, I felt taller than I'd ever felt in my life. Update 2. I didn't expect the second bomb to hit harder than the first, but here we are. First off, yeah, Mia's speech got canceled. Permanently. After she ran out of Clara's shower sobbing, she didn't just ghost the party, she went dark. Deleted socials, blocked half the family. She's in full shutdown mode. Word is she's staying with a friend in Chicago and reevaluating her support system. which apparently means avoiding every person who called her out. Jordan filed for divorce. Not even a separation. Divorce. According to Lexi, he told Mia he couldn't trust a single thing about their relationship after realizing how performative her whole perfect bride image had been. He said, and I quote, "I didn't marry a person. I married a brand brutal." Now, the unexpected part, our parents. I figured they'd defend her till the bitter end. But after Clara's slideshow, especially with the spreadsheet projected in front of Grandma, they had no choice but to acknowledge the receipts. Our mom sent me a message last night. "I wish we'd listened sooner. I'm sorry. It wasn't perfect, but it was the first apology I've gotten in years. Honestly, I don't feel vindicated. I feel exhausted. Because this didn't make me whole. It just made the damage visible to everyone else. And now that they see it, I think they expect me to fix the family. But I'm not the fixer anymore. I'm the one finally putting the pieces down. After the bridal shower, everything just stopped. No calls, no texts, no new drama. Just a weird, humming silence like the entire family was holding its breath, waiting to see what I'd do next. But for the first time in years, I didn't have to do anything. The truth was out there, unedited, uncropped, and it was quiet. At first, I didn't know what to do with the silence. I kept expecting the other shoe to drop, that Mia would retaliate, spin some story, weaponize her tears to win people back. But she didn't, because no one was listening to her anymore. I think that scared her more than anything. Meanwhile, I did something small, maybe stupid, but I needed to do it. I printed out that one photo of me fixing her dress, the one she cropped, the real version. I framed it, put it on the shelf above my desk where I keep my old soccer trophies and childhood drawings. Not because it's a good photo. It's not. I look sweaty, my back's hunched. Her face is half turned in mid-eye roll, but it's real. And it reminded me of something I hadn't realized until all this broke open. I've been fighting so hard to belong in this family, I never stopped to ask if I even wanted to. I mean, think about it. I spent years playing the invisible sibling, the fixer, the guy who drives the moving van and misses birthdays but never complains. I thought that's what love looked like. Service, silence, sacrifice. And they let me believe that because it was convenient. But once I stopped showing up, they didn't either. Except Lexi, and Clara, and, surprisingly, my dad. Yeah, that caught me off guard too. He showed up to my place last Sunday, knocked on the door with 2 coffees and that sheepish expression he always wears when he knows he messed up but doesn't want to say the words. "I didn't see it," he said. "That's on me." We sat in the kitchen, talked for hours. He told me stories I didn't even remember, about when I was 6 and used to follow Mia around like a shadow, copying everything she did. About the time she convinced me to eat a crayon and I ended up with purple lips for 3 days. He said, "You always looked up to her." We all did. Maybe too much. And then softly, "I'm sorry we let her treat you like that. You didn't deserve it." It wasn't flowery, it wasn't perfect. But damn, it hit harder than I expected. That night, I slept for 9 hours straight. No nightmares, no spiraling thoughts, just peace. And I realized something else. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about release. I don't need Mia's approval. I don't need to be part of her filtered feed. I just need people who see me, who choose me. And from here on out, that's who I'm showing up for. Because I'm done fighting for space in someone else's picture. From now on, I'm taking my own.